YouTube, what is going on? Rich here, and welcome back to a brand new series here on the FM Scout channel that is going to be called the Football Manager Project. Now, what I'm going to be doing is I am going to be going round all the leagues in the world. Today we're going to start with the Premier League, and I'm going to pick 5 teams from each of those leagues where you can go in and you can start your Football Manager project. Now, the reason that this series has come around is mainly because I'll see a lot of Twitch streams, I'll get quite a few tweets, and I see quite a few things on Facebook where people will request for, teams to start a brand new Football Manager save with. So, like I said earlier, I'm going to be picking 5 teams, starting with the Premier League, of where you can build up a club, and you would have, a high chance of, after quite a few years of building them up, to either become the Premier League champions or the domestic league champions, depending on where we are, and moving on to Europe. So let's get started, and here is the first team that I'm going to pick. So the first team that I am going to go for is going to be Bournemouth. Now, these will be new to the Premier League when you first start up your save. So Bournemouth are predicted to finish bottom of the league. So in that first season, you are going to be trying to get them out of that relegation battle. But you will have some exciting players to do it with. Overall, though, before we get to that, the club has got good training facilities and it's got quite adequate youth facilities. I'm sure that you could get that reputation and that standard a little bit higher as your save moves on. But Bournemouth themselves, Eddie Howe currently the manager, captain will be Tommy Elphick, Simon Francis the vice captain, and the key player is the on loan Argentinian of Juan Iturbe. Now, let's have a look at some of the players that you will have at your disposal. So starting from the back, you will have a very good goalkeeper in Arthur Boric. He is 35 years old now, though, but he's got 60 caps for Poland. Very, very experienced keeper. Good communication, good reflexes. His overall, he looks like a pretty decent player. So I don't know if you're really going to have to go goalkeeper shopping that early on. Now, also at the back, you'll have the veteran Sylvain Distin, formerly of Everton, but he's got good heading, quite decent marking and decent tackling to hopefully hold it together for you at the back. Just going through the team as well, Andrew Sermon always stands out as being a decent player. He will be in that central midfield role. Again, he's got some pretty good stats on him, so I think that he would do quite well. Formerly of Norwich, and he's currently had 75 games for Bournemouth as well. Matt Ritchie will be a key player. He can play many different roles. He can play down the left and the right, and he can play in that attacking midfield role as well. 25 years old, so he's a good age, and Scottish, and he's still got about 3 years left on his contract, so fingers crossed you should be able to keep him around. Juan Iturbe as well, on loan from Roma down the right hand side. I would play him. He'd be one of the first names on my team sheet looking at those stats. So I think he'll be on loan until the end of the season from Roma, where he's not made that many appearances for them, but looking at those stats, he could make quite a mark on the Premier League. Now going further forward, you've got Josh King, who's Norwegian, 17 caps for them. He can play up front. His stats aren't the best. His physicals are probably the best, so I don't know if he'd get in your team, but he could be a player that you'd be able to develop. But the main ones that you've got up here, Callum Wilson, unfortunately been out injured, I think, for most of this season, but good dribbling, good finishing, good passing as well. He would be a player that would get in your team, valued at 7.5 million if you did want to sell him. And then finally, who else have we got in here? We've got Benica Fobe as well. How can we forget about Benica Fobe? He will be one of the first names on the team sheet. He's the man that you could be playing up front. So guys, that is Bournemouth. I think they'd be a pretty good starter team to use. So let's move on to team number 2. Now the next team that I'm going to be looking at is Everton, predicted to finish 7th in the league. They've got excellent training facilities and they've got excellent youth facilities as well. So you will be able to bring through those young players. Phil Jagielka, the captain, Leon Osman, the vice-captain, and Leighton Baines is down as the key player. Their finances are down as rich, so you should be able to get quite a bit of money out of that chairman in order to build this squad. Now you've got Tim Howard, who is actually retiring, I think, at the end of this season. But he should stand you in good stead for a year. Or you've got this keeper as well, the Spaniard. I think he's been mainly in the first team throughout the whole of this season, so he should do pretty well for you. Phil Jagielka, club captain, obviously at the back. 15 heading, 16 marking, 17 tackling as well. Good mentals, decent physicals as well. He will hold that back line together for you. Leighton Baines, he's going to be out for the first 5 to 6 months, injured, unfortunately. But again, all those stats that you need from a left back. He's 30 years old now as well. Didn't realise that. Seamus Coleman on the right hand side, a player that I've always rated, valued at 25 million as well. So if you did sell him, you could get quite a good chunk of money. But personally, I'd keep him in at right back. Now moving forward through the team, you have got Ross Barkley. This is going to be, he's the main man for Everton. Just 21 years old, but valued at £26 million. Will play in that midfield role for you. You might even be able to put him in that attacking midfielder position as well. 16 first touch is what he's going to be all about. And he's got some decent passing on him as well and good technique. He's a player that will only develop, guys. So if you do start a save with Everton, he is going to be a good player for you. And then going forward, you've obviously got this man, Romelu Lukaku. Just signed up over the last couple of years, contracted till 2019. So in the first instance, you will be able to keep hold of him. If you get off to a good start in these saves, you should be able to keep Lukaku around for a lot longer. He will get you a lot of goals throughout the season. So that's team number 2. Everton Football Club, highly recommended for a good save. Team number 3, Leicester City. Can you do it? Can you be the next Claudio Ranieri and bring instant success to this club and win the Premier League? On Football Manager, predicted to finish 9th. They've got a quality stadium, 32,000 all-seater King Power Stadium. Impressive training facilities, great youth facilities, will give you a good start. Wes Morgan is the captain, Kasper Schmeichel the vice-captain, and then as far as key players concerned, you don't get that much better than Riyad Mahrez. Now, just looking at the senior squad, let's go from the back again. So, like we said earlier, Kasper Schmeichel is going to be between the sticks for you. I mean, look at those stats. You cannot argue with those stats. 19 kicking, 16 reflexes, 16 rushing out, 16 throwing. Good mental stats as well. His physicals aren't quite as good as what I thought that they would be. But 28 years old, 12 caps for his country, valued at 7.25 million and contracted for another 3 years. He would be between the sticks and he will be very, very reliable for you. Robert Huth at the back as well. Everybody loves Robert Huth. 30-year-old German. Good heading, good tackling and good marking as well. You know, he's actually a little bit younger than what I thought. I thought he was older than 30 years old. 20 aggression, 18 bravery, 16 concentration, 18 determination, 16 positioning, 17 teamwork, and 16 work rate. To be honest, for a 30-year-old, you cannot ask for an awful lot better. Just going through the team again, you have got Kante, who will hold it together for you. He's just been announced that he will be in the French national squad. He's in the initial team for Euro 2016, valued at £24 million. He will be best off, I think, in that defensive midfielder role, sat just in front of your back four. Then you've got Riyad Mahrez, who we talked about earlier. He's down as the key player for Leicester. Look at those stats. 16 crossing, 18 dribbling, 16 finishing, and 18 first touch, as well as 16 passing and 17 technique. Quality player. Could make your save very, very exciting indeed. Okazaki, or Mr. Miyagi, as I like to call him, he can play up front. He can play in a variety of positions. You could put him anywhere. Stick a bit of training on him if needed, so that you could play him on this right-hand side too. But good dribbling and decent finishing. His mentals and physicals are all very, very good. Danny Drinkwater as well. Again, a player with good stats, who will hold it together for you in midfield, valued at 22.5 million. Unbelievable. And he's only 25 years old. And then you've got the main man up front, Jamie Vardy, 16 finishing, 16 penalty taking. His work rate, you can't get any better. His aggression, you can't get much better. Or bravery, or determination, or teamwork. I don't know what more I can say about him. Media down as a explosive striker. Moves into the channels, beats the offside trap. He will work very, very hard for you up front. And with that 16 finishing, he will probably get you a lot of goals too. So Leicester City would be a very, very fun save to do. Let's have a look at team number 4. So the next team that I will be picking is Southampton. Predicted to finish 8th in the league. They've got a 32,000 all-seater stadium. They are rich. Excellent training facilities, top youth facilities. And as well as being in the Premier League and the Capital One Cup and the FA Cup, you will also start off in the 3rd qualifying round of the Europa League. So if you want a bit of European football straight off the bat with a team that is still a project, then Southampton, guys, would be the team for you. Fonte is the captain, Stephen Davis vice-captain, and Mane is your key player for the Saints. Like I say, they're down as rich, also in Europe. Let's have a little look at the squad. You've got Fraser Forster, who will be in goal, but unfortunately you're not going to get to see him for the first 6 or 7 months. But once you do get through that barrier, then Fraser Forster is going to be the man between the sticks for you. Stecklenburg, who's on loan from Fulham, is someone that you would have in the meantime, unless you decide to bring anybody in. Going from the back, Jose Font, like we saw earlier, he is the club captain. 16 heading, 14 marking and 15 tackling. Exactly what you want from a centre-back. Not as aggressive maybe as what you'd like, but he's got good work rate, good teamwork, and good leadership as well. So, 4.3 million for the 31-year-old. I'm not sure if you'd move him on early or not, but I think you'd be in good stead with him in your first season. Alongside him, you would have Virgil van Dijk, the former Celtic player, and someone who I personally rate very, very highly. I think he's probably one of the better centre-backs in the league, and I don't think that the stats that you can see in front of you do him justice. I think that in FM 2017, I would imagine that you'd get a decent... He should be boosted, in my opinion, and he's just signed a new longer-term contract with the club as well. Moving forward, just in front of the defence, you would have this man, Victor Wanyama. Decent technicals as far as his tackling's concerned. Good mentals and good physicals. Worth £18.5 million. So if you did move him on, you'd get quite a bit of money for him. Only contracted for another couple of years though, so that would be something to keep an eye on. Then you've got the key player, Sadio Mane. You can put him anywhere, pretty much. Anywhere across this middle line, even up front if needed. Only 23 years old, valued at 26.5 million. But again, he's a player that he's only under contract for another sort of 2 or 3 years. So you just need to make sure that you'd hopefully have a decent start to life as manager of Southampton in order to keep him. Shane Long up front is always going to work very hard for you. 28 years old now, the Irishman. 12 finishing. I would have thought that would be maybe a little bit higher. Not too sure. I'm not sure he's going to improve too much more, but he's always a player that works very hard, as you can see with his 18 work rate. And his physicals are quite decent as well. Natural fitness and pace. He's one of those. He's kind of in the... He's not as good, but he's in the sort of Jamie Vardy bracket for me. As far as youngsters, English youngsters, James Ward-Prowse for the middle. Look at all those positions that he can play in as well. Very good technicals, corners and crossing. Free kick taking is good. His physicals should develop, hopefully, as time goes on with you. And decent mentals as well. Good determination, vision and work rate for James Ward-Prowse. And then up front, a couple of players. You've got Graziano Pella, 17 finishing. Wow, that's very, very good. 16 first touch and good heading as well. He's quite a tall player, I think. Good determination and flair. He could notch you in a few goals up there. And alongside him, you could have Charlie Austin. recently signed this season from QPR, again 16 finishing. So you've got 2 players that you could put up front there. One's got 17 finishing, one's got 16. Build a few players up behind him that can supply those channels for him, and you should be able to get a hatful of goals with Southampton. So that's Southampton done. One more team to go. Right, and the final team that I'm going to choose are the Hammers. West Ham United, predicted to finish 11th in the league. The first stadium in the first season will be Upton Park, the bowling ground. 35,000 capacity. That is the only only in the first season that you will be in that stadium, and then you will move into the Olympic Stadium. The finances are secure, so they're not rich. They've not really got that much money. But you will start life with impressive training facilities and great youth facilities, and as well, just a little bit like Southampton, as well as being in general competition, you will also be in the Europa League first qualifying round. They're down against this team, Lustians, in the save that I have just loaded up. So you're straight into Europe again with West Ham United. Can you maintain it? Captain is Mark Noble, vice captain Winston Reid, and key player, a man that's had a very, very good season for them, Dimitri Payet. As far as the players are concerned, let's have a little look at the squad. You've got Adrian in goal, valued at £6 million, 28 years old. Don't know what you guys think about him. I don't know whether you'd look to move him on and bring somebody else in your first season. I'm not too sure, but he's got a few decent stats on him there. You've got Carl Jenkinson, who is on loan from Arsenal, will be your right back in the first season. Very, very good player. Decent crossing as well. If you can get him forward on that overlap, he should do a decent job for you. He's got good bravery as well, teamwork and work rate. A solid right back to start your life in charge of West Ham. Ogbonna at the back as well. Not too bad. He's got half decent heading, marking and tackling. Not sure whether you'd keep him or not. 10.5 million. I'm not sure if I'd cash in on that or not. I don't know, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think. Aaron Cresswell would be your left back, valued at 11.5 million, contracted for the next 5 years as well. Quite like the look of him. Looks like a decent player. And then moving on through the team, you've got Victor Moses, who is on loan from Chelsea, valued at £11.5 million. Again, another player that looks like he's got some decent stats on him. So not sure whether you look to try and buy him at the end of that period or not. But yeah, 24 years old, got 24 caps for his country as well. Mark Noble will hold it down for you in midfield. Fantastic mental stats, 20 teamwork, 16 vision, 18 work rate, 18 leadership. Will be very, very good for you, as well as that 16 passing, and he's a good penalty taker as well. So sign him up for those spot kicks, guys. Just having a look through who else we've got. Dimitri Payet is going to be your main player. You could play him anywhere across this line, left, right, or through the middle. Dribbling 18, 16 first touch, 16 free kick taking, 16 passing, and 16 technique. His mentals aren't the best. His physicals aren't too great either, but I don't think he's the tallest player in the world. But he will definitely do you a very, very good job. Previously at Olympique Marseille, but he will be absolutely phenomenal for you. If you play him in the right way, he'll do a great job. You've also got the big man up front, Andy Carroll, but you'll miss him probably for the first 2 months of the season. Good heading if you're looking for a target man, bravery, and his physicals are very, very good as well. Throw him up front alongside the beast, Emmanuel Emenike, 16 finishing, fantastic physical stats, and he's quite aggressive as well. So I'm not sure how prolific they will be for you up front. So, like for instance, where we just looked at Southampton, I think you could really get some goals out of Southampton. I'm not sure whether you'd look to bring somebody in up front. You've also got Sacco as well, who's got that 17 finishing. He could be the answer, but it's finding that balance with West Ham of whether you have a really good first season or whether it just goes okay. So there we go, guys. They are my 5 Premier League projects. So we started off at Bournemouth, Everton, Leicester, Southampton and West Ham United. Guys, let me know what you think about those in the comments, but hopefully this video gives you a few ideas and quickly answers some of those questions about who you should do a save with. Also, let me know in the comments of what other leagues you'd like me to do. I'm thinking of moving on and doing, you know, like the BBVA. I'll do the Bundesliga. I could do the French league as well, and also some of the other English leagues too. We'll look at the Championship and maybe even Leagues 1 and 2 if you want to. But guys, thank you so much for watching this video. It's greatly appreciated. Make sure that you subscribe to the FM Scout YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel as well, which is Rich on Twitch _TV. All those links will be on the description. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. And guys, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you all next time.